Hello, YouTube. In today's video, we are back with my queen, Rotten Mango. The title of today's case we're going to be watching is Former Reality TV Swinger Found Dead After Hiring a Hitman to Kill Her Rich Husband. So she tried to hire a hitman to kill her rich husband, I'm assuming to take all of his money, but then she was found dead. Interesting. Dude, imagine the rich husband found out about her plot and paid the hitman that she hired more money so that the hitman would turn around and kill her. Dude, that would be spicy. That's my hypothesis. That's my theory right there. So yeah, I'm gonna shut up now. Let's just watch this, okay? I didn't want to sleep tonight anyway.
Bada bing, bada boo.
During the Olympics, if you ever watch the equestrian games, you're looking at a lot of science inside the horse. The horses are the science. They are fine-tuned like cars. I mean, they're basically Formula One cars, but alive and breathing, and that's, you know, horse.
And they fart and shit and piss. Have you guys seen those videos of horses always farting? Horses be gassy as hell, I swear. Like, they always do that like little jump and then they just let it rip.
They are genetically tested. They're bred to make sure that they are well-bred, that they're well-fit for the games that they're entering. One lab testing that you can get done on a horse is for the speed gene. It's a very specific gene. If a horse has this specific gene, they are going to be more predisposed to develop what they call the fast twitch muscles. They're perfect for the sprint.
Hey, low-key, I have that gene. Yeah, that's why I'm like so much faster than like everybody in this chat.
They're perfect for the sprint, but they're not going to be endurance horses. So the genes of a horse can even tell you if a horse is going to be predisposed to liking dirt or turf, which is very important. The lab says some clients will even have their horses tested as soon as they're born. Then they can just map out a plan for all of their individual horses, which trainer they're going to go see, which type of sport they're going to specialize in. And there's a lot of specialties. There's a lot of different ways you can look at a horse. I mean, obviously, I'm not just talking from like an ophthalmology standpoint. Let's start with English riding. You have dressage, often called horse ballet. It's how a rider is able to guide their horse through a complex movement performance. It's an Olympic sport. It's all about the grace, the control of the horse. If you are me and you are uncultured and you watch this on TV during the Olympics, it looks like the horse
didn't we?
Yes, it's doing like a little dance, like a little tippy toe dance. That's what it looks like. The horse is galloping in place. It looks like it's just skipping in
Somebody in chat said Uma Musume, bro.
place.
The game where you race with a bunch of anime girls that are horses. These are all horses, by the way, chat.
The horse is galloping in place. It looks like it's just skipping in place, which, side note, when they skip in place, the horse appears motionless at certain points, but that is exerting an enormous amount of energy on the horse because trotting in place defies the laws of motion for a horse.
Interesting.
It actually is like physically very difficult. They're probably sweating from trotting in place. And I'm just like, look at him, look at the tippy toes. That's what it is. These horses have to train for like a minimum of 8 to 12 years to do the tippy toe dance.
Wow.
That's dressage. Then you head into show jumping. That's where the horses and the riders, they have to clear a course of obstacles. They look like fences without knocking them down. It's about speed. It's about clearing the rounds, although most of them look incredibly graceful, I will say. But with any equestrian event, there has to be a lot of trust and relationship established between the horse and the rider. Show jumping, with that being said, so elegant, so graceful, so beautiful. I could never do that. If you've never seen it, I'm just going to give you a visual in your head for the audio listeners. You know when you have the dog competitions and you have the dog like jumping through the obstacle courses? It's like that, but you're on the Australian Shepherd's back. But also, your outfit is great. It looks good. It looks artistic. I'm uncultured. It's the only way I can describe it. The third of the English disciplines is called eventing, where you do dressage, show jumping, cross country. Cross country is essentially American Ninja Warrior, but on a horse. You go through like a full outdoor obstacle course.
This is actually insanely impressive, though. Like, it's not just riding a horse. Like, I assume a lot of core strength has to go into it to like fucking keep yourself steady on it. And a lot of the points comes from how aesthetic you look. So if you're just like flopping around everywhere, it's going to look ugly and you're gonna lose points. Yeah,
you've got logs in ditches of water. You've got water features that complicate the horse, and horses get spooked very easily, so you have to make sure that they don't get spooked, and you get penalized for refusals. That's when the horse is like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. You get penalized for that. You get penalized for falling, obviously, or interestingly, you get penalized for going too fast or too slow. I didn't know that was a thing, but you have to be in the sweet spot of allotted time. You actually get penalized if you're faster than that allotted time. Every second faster than that little sweet spot time, you have a penalty.
Why is that?
I think that they're also trying to prevent reckless, dangerous acts on a horse by going too fast. And it's about like the agility and the consistent speed instead of just like bursts of sprinting through. So they're looking for a lot of different things.
These sports, how much of that is the horse doing the sport versus the person on top of the horse?
Both. So there are really, really good riders, but the horses, that's why horse juice for reproduction is one of the most expensive liquids in the world. If you have a really well-bred stallion, if you have a really well-bred show horse, their specimen to procreate other horses can be very expensive to purchase. So it's all about the horse lineage and also the
Wait, their specimen. So like their nut? Yeah, somebody said horse juice. That's nasty, bro.
It's all about the horse lineage and also the rider.
Yeah.
It's a mixture of both. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say, but I think the Western ones are a little bit more fun. So the Western riding disciplines and competitions, you got reining. This is about the athletic prowess of the horse. So it's dressage, but kind of more rodeo level. I mean, it's all about how a horse can do a series of patterns, sliding stops, spins, flying lead changes. One Redditor says it primarily focused on moving your horse with very little hand movements. The focus is on using your seat and your legs almost exclusively to control this horse. And the energy is different. It appears that it's taking place inside like a dirt
Helicopter.
pit in a stadium. And I love horses. I think they're so majestic. I have an irrational fear of sustaining a brain injury on a horse, but other than that, I feel like they're smarter than me. However, when you watch this for the first time, all I can compare it to is like when your dog has the zoomies and they're zooming and they're like skidding to a stop and you're on top of the horse. That's what a lot of the Western competitions look like. And I'm sure it takes a lot of skill. And then you have, interestingly, I mean, you also have like the equestrian events that are more focused on the rider, about how the rider is able to control their horse. Then you have like the show horse events where it's really just about the horse itself and their breeding and their stance and all of that, as well as horse show performances.
Yeah, somebody in chat said the Hitman is the horse, bro. Like at this rate, we're still talking about horses.
Cavalia. It's like Cirque du Soleil meets horses. Acrobats on a horse. I mean, these are just a few shows in sports that horses are the center of. And of course, sports like polo. I can't forget polo before everyone gets mad at me. This is a field that's 3 football fields long. Everyone is on a horse. These horses are like 1,000 pounds, even though they're called polo ponies. They're not ponies, they're massive horses. And the riders have to use these little mallets to hit and aim at this tiny white ball. Each polo pony is going like 30 miles per hour. All their tails have to be wrapped so that nobody's equipment or their tails don't get tangled with each other, causing injuries. It's a very dangerous sport. Most elite polo players have at least...
Yeah, I was gonna say that looks fucking dangerous. Like you're basically playing soccer with horses. I mean, they're very susceptible to breaking their legs because they're very top heavy animals and their legs are small.
And polo ponies for one match. They swap through the ponies in one match because a few minutes of polo ponying, the pony is tired and they have to fly these horses in from all over the parts of the world when they have a polo match. But here's an interesting detail. Sometimes the polo ponies are all the same. Not the same breed, not the same look, but genetic carbon copies, genetic clones of each other.
What do you mean?
They started cloning ponies.
Lab made.
Lab made from some of the best polo ponies. They cloned them.
That's crazy.
There's one top player, and he's from Argentina, I believe,
What
and he
the
has
fuck?
6 of the same exact pony, genetically speaking. They are clones. He has 6 clones. There's a lot of drama there. I mean, some people believe
What
that
the fuck? What is this shit? Is that even ethical?
eventually polo is going to be a game of who can clone horses the best rather than who can play polo the best. Other people think it's becoming even more expensive to learn the sport of polo. There's a lot of drama, even who has the rights over each clone. There's so much drama. There's a lot of scandals. It's a very complicated story where players are now saving genetic samples of their horse's skin in cryogenic storage chambers. The horse world is crazy.
Yeah.
It seems like each division of equestrian sports, the horse world, they've got their own fair share of scandals. And for Valitar, this is a horse show in California, they have a lot of scandals. The owners of the horse show Valitar are this wealthy couple. They're pretty conventionally...
Oh, here we go. This might be the couple that we're gonna learn about today.
The owners of the horse show Valitar are this wealthy couple. They're pretty conventionally attractive as well. It's kind of important later, but they're the Remleys. The Remleys look like your standard rich couple from San Diego.
Stephanie is very much correct here. They look like the typical rich couple. No soul behind their eyes. Kind of dead inside, low key. Kind of scary.
Mark Remley, the husband, he's a bit older. He looks very fit, but in a nerdy way. I don't know how to describe it. He looks fit in the way that Jeff Bezos looks fit. Like you remember Jeff Bezos as a bald nerd, and then now he's like jacked and bald, but you can just tell it just doesn't sit normally with him. Like he just doesn't move like he's always been fit his whole life.
Like some people, unfortunately, like even if you get ripped, your head and like you have that chud face. Like you have that face that's just meant for chuds. Just becoming ripped, like it doesn't actually fix it. Like see, he's still a chud.
It just doesn't sit normally with him. Like he just doesn't move like he's always been fit his whole life.
Like genetically modified.
Exactly. Like it just doesn't feel like, it just feels like a little weird. I don't know if it's
Fucking bobblehead.
the best look on him. Mark Remley looks fit the way Jeff Bezos looks fit. And then you have the wife, Tatiana Remley. And Tatiana, she's blonde. She's got a...
Shit. Yo.
And she's also the star of the Valitar Horse Show. She's an equestrian. She's a writer. They've invested over $20 million into the show, and they lose every single penny of it. I mean, the list of Valatar scandals goes on, but it includes horses get abandoned with nothing to eat, performers quit over massive creative differences over Tatiana. Later, the owners are known to be swingers at a club that a lot of celebrities attend, and this is not necessarily a scandal, but that was more of an interesting side quest. And former staffers will
Swingers are people that fuck a lot of people, right? A person who engages in group sex or the swapping of sexual partners. Okay, yeah.
And this is not necessarily a scandal, but that was more of an interesting side quest. And former staffers will come out to say more or less, Tatiana doesn't even know how to ride a horse.
Their horse show, what exactly do they
Wow,
do? Like, which branch of
fraud.
the
It's like
division?
Cavalia, they are acrobats on horses. Cirque du Soleil meets horses.
So it's like performance.
Yes.
Not like a competition.
No.
I see.
And Tatiana doesn't even know how to ride a horse well. And you're supposed to be doing a handstand on a horse that's galloping around the atrium. But the biggest scandal to come out of Valatar has to be the decapitated horse head on the Remley's marital bed. It's not real though, thank God.
Oh.
I mean, it happened.
Stephanie, don't do that to me, bro.
But it's not a real horse head. It's a decapitated horse head from one of their very expensive horse statues that they have in their front lawn of their $5.5 million house in Del Mar, California. This is near San Diego. And it's clearly not a mistake. It's not like one of their housekeepers accidentally knocked over the statue while sweeping, and in a moment of panic, they placed the decapitated horse statue head on the couple's bed, changed their government name, ran off to a new state to start a new business. That is not the case here. This is a targeted message. This is a threat. And by the end of it, one of the Remleys, one of the founders of the Valatar Horse Show, will be dead.
So that fake decapitated horse head was a message. Interesting. So that maybe that was by the Hitman.
With that being said, let's get started. When it comes to the ultimate fantasy, the saying is, no two are the same, right? That doesn't apply. Everyone has similar fantasies and interests, apparently. You like watching your partner have intimate relations with somebody else in front of you? Yeah, so did Diddy, okay? Get in line for the chair. There's lots of people. Now, the usage
I could never do that, bro. I don't know how people get into cuckoldry, like watching your partner do it with other people and then you watch. I get too attached to people, bro. I could not do that.
Now, the usage of ropes, there's a whole community built on the art of tying rope on somebody. However, even if you have this super niche, specialized interest where you think there's nobody else that has the same fantasy as I do, they are ready, such as watching Lady Antoinette do the bounce on a champagne bottle, a historical figure from France, do the bounce on a champagne bottle. If you have thought about that extensively at night and it keeps you up, you are not entirely alone. And there is someone
what does
here
that
to make it happen for
mean?
you. The Sanctum Club. This is the place where nothing legal is off the table.
Bouncing on a bottle? What?
There are lots of places where you can go and watch your partner have intimate relations with someone else right in front of your face, but none of them are like the Sanctum Club. That's what all the Sanctum members will tell you. Sanctum Club is an elite sex club in Beverly Hills that has been called half pagan sex cult, half entertainment mogul after party sex club.
Wait, say that one more time. Half what?
Yeah, some people think it's like a pagan sex cult. It's like not super religious.
Oh.
Or it's a half entertainment mogul after party sex club. So where all the Hollywood directors go after the Oscars and they watch everybody do the bounce. Okay, that's like, which one?
Do the bounce. I mean, I think we know what they're bouncing on.
Is
It's
it
up to
still
you.
operating?
It is still operating with new owners.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, one of the members bought out the club and they operate it. I did go on, like I fell down a rabbit hole on Reddit. Some people say it's past its prime time. So there's like lots of debates of which club. And I think they do a lot of more parties and events in New York. And then I went down the whole rabbit hole and they said, the best parties in New York are the ones that you need an invite to that nobody really knows the club name. Anyway, okay, it's up to you to decide which is a more fitting description for a sanctum. You usually don't even know who's going to be in attendance beforehand. You have to give up your phone at the door. You have to sign an ironclad NDA before going in. The only reason that we even know about this club is, well, for how secretive they are, they've got a whole season of a reality show online readily available to watch, and we're gonna get more into that later because Tatiana and Mark Remley are on the show. That plus a few
This video is freaky. What the hell?
Tatiana and Mark Remley are on the show. That plus a few writers and a few column writers, journalists were allowed inside and were able to describe the party without mentioning any specific guest. Each party is different. Each crowd of attendees is different. But for each party, you have a group of devotees. These are the performers that work for Sanctum. That's what they're called. They are the erotic theater performers. They're the show. Depending on the theme, their performance will differ. Sometimes it consists of them dressing up as bunnies and standing as still as possible as human furniture that you can grow. Other times, after a private dinner party, these devotees will climb on top of the dinner table and carry on with consumption of things that are not food.
What?
They're all eating each other, okay? They're all doing nasty to each other on the dinner table after the dinner party. I do think the health department might take issue with that, but it's not a restaurant establishment, it's a private party. So I guess perhaps it gets a pass. Sometimes the performance will include one of the
Man, I did not expect this freaky of an episode.
dressed up as Lady Antoinette, a historical figure, sitting on top of a coffee table doing ungodly, unspeakable things to a champagne bottle that hasn't been popped yet. And the only thing I can think of is that seems really dangerous
Yeah.
because at least you should empty it, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
But the most important part about Sanctum Club,
That's actually really alarming.
yeah, I know. And it was on the
Whoa.
reality show.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
What is on the reality show? The performances on the reality show?
Lots of stuff was on the reality show.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, lots of stuff. So, but the most important part about Sanctum Club is that your biggest fears, they tell you, the biggest fears that you have about an intimate club is not going to come true. What is the biggest fear? If you go on Reddit and you look up biggest fear about going to a sex club, an intimate club, everyone is going to be unhygienic and ugly. That's people's biggest fears. What if I go and I'm the hottest one in the room and I'm not even that hot? That's what people say on Reddit. Okay?
What if I go and I'm the only one serving cunt?
What if I go and I'm the hottest one in the room and I'm not even that hot? That's what people say on Reddit, okay? People attending the clubs are scared to go see, God forbid, ugly people. That's terrifying for them. Then the next fear is that everyone at the better clubs, right? Sometimes you go to an elite club and you're like, okay, well, surely the pool's gonna be better here. And then you go and you find really ugly, old, rich dudes and really hot young girls, and that's it. So there's lots of fears. With Sanctum Club, they say this doesn't happen because even the old, ugly, rich guys, they get vetted and you can't be too old and you can't be too ugly. You can never be too rich though. With Sanctum Club, those that have attended say, you don't have to worry. I mean, first of all, the women outweigh the men in numbers most of the time, and they're all wearing like expensive bras that cost over $1,000 for one bra. High heels, everybody's fit, everybody's attractive, everybody's wearing a mask. It looks like Cirque du Soleil meets a Victoria's Secret fashion show. People refer to it as, quote, the most glamorous sex party I've ever been to. It's like the movies Eyes Wide Shut with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman.
Is it? This is all legal?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Apparently, a lot of the devotees are not hired, like they're not paid for performing.
Oh.
So
wait.
I think there's like legal loopholes.
Oh, so, okay. I see.
Yeah. Which
So what is everyone doing there?
each other. Yeah.
Oh.
What is everyone doing there? Each other? I love Stephanie, man.
So you
Okay.
pay to get in. You pay to be a member. First of all, you need to buy membership, and that ranges from $30,000 a year to could be
Damn.
$100,000. And then you pay to get into each party.
That's crazy.
And then once you get in, I'm sure that there are concessions like free drinks and free food, but that's not really what people are there for. They're there
That
to
is-
do other things. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think the prices have changed. I think those were the prices at its height. If I'm not mistaken, on Reddit recently, they had a couple go in for like $1,000 for the couple. It's insane. Yes, it's insane. But they were not paying a whole salary a
That's
year
so
to be a member.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Former partygoers would argue. Damon, the original founder of Sanctum, he was so selective about who he let into the doors. It wasn't some cheap sex party where everybody brings a date and you automatically swap. There's a very big difference between a sex party and a Sanctum party. The founder, Damon, states, I have no desire for a swingers party here, but I do want to open dialogue about how we can come out of our fear of sexuality. So in order to enter, you must send a message on Facebook to Sanctum. At least
They always gotta look to them. You know, these people that are into like these very strange sexual deviant parties. Yeah, I don't know.
So in order to enter, you must send a message on Facebook to Sanctum. At least that's how it started. Eventually they get so big, they have their own like curated submissions page. It's just very tedious to get an invite. There's no guarantee. To even pay to be a guest at one of the parties, you have to submit photos of yourself. You have to appear presentable. You have to answer questions such as, what turns you on the most? Now link all of your social media handles so we can vet you. You're supposed to be honest, but you can't help but feel like there's a right answer for every question. Like, what do you mean is the hottest thing I've done? I feel like this is, I mean, what do you mean? Now I feel like I'm answering an SAT test. You will be likely given an address to pick up your tickets. It's a lingerie shop in Hollywood. You walk in, you tell them what you're here for. The staff walk to the back and they come out with your invite on a silver platter. You have now wasted approximately 2 business days of energy to get this invite, but maybe it's worth it. And it's all on purpose. Damon, the founder, says, it's the opposite of what most club owners want. I absolutely did not want 500 people outside clamoring to get in. I love the puzzle of getting there. But it's deeper than that. It's more meaningful. It's our most basic human desires, but beautiful. The owner calls it, quote, spiritual and erotic utopia, where people of like minds and desires can have as much intimate deeds and romance as humanly possible in as many different ways as the imagination can invent.
Oh my god, I hate how pretentious rich people are. Like, just say you're sexual deviants who want to have an orgy.
It insists upon itself, Lois.
What?
Yeah,
Insists upon itself.
What does that even mean?
it insists upon itself.
One former performer at the club says about the founder, he is like the modern day sex Jesus. I kind of feel like he sacrificed himself for the greater good of creating a culture for people that was needed, especially in a city like Los Angeles. I think that's why they call it like half pagan sex club, so. Esquire states about one party's guest list. Among those confirmed are a man who owns multiple hotels in New York City, a billionaire from Moscow, several wealthy couples who have been married for more than 20 years, the producer of a number of well-known television shows, an actress with a reputable IMDb page, the 21-year-old son of a movie producer, international models, and a couple opening a big new store near Rodeo Drive. According to Business Insider, they state that the alleged celebrity guests at events include Gwyneth Paltrow and the founder of Goop, and
Gwyneth Paltrow was there? Wait, that wouldn't surprise me. Wasn't she the one who released that weird candle that smelled like her vagina or something? Yes! Gwyneth Paltrow's infamous $75 Goop candle. This smells like my vagina. So you know what? It wouldn't surprise me if she was at this kind of party. You know, she got that freak in her. She a little weird.
They just name dropped?
Yeah, but they said allegedly, and Business Insider said it, and they have a lot more money, so go sue them first. Right? So
What?
even the devotees are handpicked with strict guidelines. It's not just about being physically hot. One woman was picked on the spot because, quote, one woman said to me, I want to perform at Sanctum. And then I want to become a politician and then get outed in a sex scandal so that I can point out the hypocrisy in society. And they said, you're in.
How do we know this? They just told the
Yeah.
story? Okay.
They do private masquerades, erotic parties, erotic theater, and some of it is very, like, it's not just eyes wide shut. You know how everyone was talking about the Rothschilds parties where they hunt people, where they have like the animal masks on? They kind of recreate those.
This kind of imagery unsettles me so much. Like when people wear animal heads, especially like this deer kind of stuff. This is the kind of stuff I imagine took place on Epstein Island or something with all the rituals they be doing.
They kind of recreate those. So you'll have very hot women with giant horse heads, very realistic ones that are not hot and not fun. They look very real. And then they'll have, like Marie Antoinette was doing the deed with her horse, but that horse was a woman who dressed up as a horse with a very realistic horse head.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's elephant heads, and they'll try to stick elephant trunks in places where they probably shouldn't be stuck. They used to do a monthly masquerade in New York, and people will fly in from all over the world for these masquerades. Damon, the club owner, says that every Sanctum member has to pass an application process, run background checks. Basic memberships start
Crazy,
at $30,000 a
bro.
year, and they have Dominus members, which is $100,000 a year, and they will tailor bespoke erotic requests for you. And just because you have money doesn't mean you can become a top tier member. They only offer that level of membership to 20 people worldwide. And one of the main reasons that we actually know about Sanctum Club on a larger scale is because the founder took to Instagram previously to write, Hunter was a member of Sanctum, and I canceled his membership after one party because he was a scumbag.
Who's-
Hunter who?
Hunter Biden?
He low-key a Chad though. I don't know if you guys have seen his recent interviews that he's done. Hunter Biden low-key a goat. He's a humble crackhead.
Hunter Biden, which Sanctum's former founder, this is after he sold Sanctum. He went online and said Hunter Biden was a former member. Allegedly, this is what he said, not what I said, so don't sue me.
That is what?
Yeah.
Wow.
He says the only reason that he would go against his own former club's rules of not outing a member is, quote, posting what I did on my Instagram about Hunter Biden was me letting people know what type of behavior that he exhibited was something that upset me. I knew the consequences could be me not being part of Sanctum anymore, but I was willing to take that risk. Sanctum was bought out by a former member at this point, and they released a prompt statement. Sanctum is a private members club, and they prioritize safety and privacy of our esteemed members above all. Consequently, we neither confirm nor deny the identities of our attendees. Furthermore, we uphold a strict code of conduct, and any infringement leads to a lifetime ban. Please note that Mr. Lawner's membership has been revoked effective immediately.
The previous owner.
Yes, the founder.
When was this? Like, when was it bought
This
out?
was a few years ago.
Really? This is recent. I'm assuming there are many of these clubs that exist then, right?
Yes, I mean, there's one in New York that's very famous on TikTok. It's called The Box. It's very different. So Sanctum is different in the sense of like, it's an elite club where everyone is free to explore. This is like a bar business club in New York. But I believe there's a few in Europe that a lot of Americans like to try to get into. But I think the way that they're described is they're a bit like raunchier. They're a little bit more on the, don't ask me why I fell into this rabbit hole, but there's so many different variations of clubs. So some of the clubs, they're more on that raunchy shock value sex factor. This is where it's just all about shock. People say it's not even hot. It's just shocking because like you'll just see someone have bodily fluids empty into a bucket and they're just like swinging it around in the club. It's sometimes unhygienic, just shocking, just what the is happening. And then you have maybe the clubs that are more sexually inclined but more artistic, maybe more so like a burlesque club. And then you have like the super hot clubs like strip clubs. And then you have sex clubs, which are different because you're free to have intimate relations in the establishment or at the party venue. They'll even have beds usually and different types of furniture. And it's set up so that you're encouraged to join in the activity. Most most of these clubs in New York, like these public
That's just gross, though. A sex club, the cleaning you would have to do every day. Like, oh, ew.
establishments, when you're of age, they're not encouraging you to do anything. In fact, you could probably get arrested.
Okay.
It's just like that's the entertainment. That's the show.
I see.
But Sanctum, there's a show and there's an interactive element.
Okay.
And then there are clubs where there are no shows. Lots in Vegas where there's tons of rooms with tons of mattresses and beds that I think you should probably like do a blue light or a black light, whatever black light on. And they're like swingers clubs. So there's no show, but lots of like-minded people gather and they will do things with each other. So it's like Sanctum without the show.
Right. Okay. I see. That makes sense.
So there's like lots of different variations.
Yeah.
And there are an alarming amount of girls on Reddit that were invited to one of these establishments by their boyfriend, and they were not specified on which kind of establishment that they were invited to because they all thought they were going to be like the Box in New York. And then they end up in like a Las Vegas swingers club. So just be very careful.
That's alarming.
Yeah. And there's also lots of Reddit posts of people who have gone to different establishments and had fantastic times, phenomenal times, best times of their lives. Some people write about how it saved their marriage, which I don't know, right? But there are also people who say,
Guys, fucking other people saved my marriage. I just needed better dick. And then that made me appreciate my husband's micro dick. It made me appreciate the smaller ones because the big ones hurt.
there are also people who say, just beware of something that no one tells you about. There will be very specific smells that you will never be able to unsmell. No matter how high-end a place is, no matter how hygienic a place is, when you have that many people and you have that many bodily fluids and you have that many activities taking place in a closed space, there will be smells and you will get a whiff of that smell and you will never forget it.
In a bad way.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Even one of the journalists that went to the Sanctum Club, one of the parties, says everything was so high-end, so beautiful. Every woman felt like a supermodel. Everybody was hot. Even the guys were hot, and they're all dressed to the nines with these fancy masks. It's a masquerade party. But then they went into the bathroom to fix their lipstick, and someone had just taken a number 2 because money can't buy your way out of digestive issues. So it was very smelly in that one bathroom. That's all they said.
Okay, but that's a different.
Yeah, that's a very different story.
Just like a bathroom smell. Yeah.
But there's just scents involved in everywhere. That's what they say. But Sanctum has had its own share of lots of scandals. There was a former member of Sanctum that left, and they accused Sanctum of admitting a performer who had an active STD. That became a whole scandal. But the worst scandal to come out of Sanctum Club, the worst thing, I don't even think you could call it a scandal, is when one member of the Sanctum Club tried to have another member killed. Cavalia is what you would consider an equestrian fantasy. This is the horse show. This is completely unrelated to Sanctum Club. Cavalia is Cirque du Soleil meets the horse shows. It's like a blend of horseback riding and doing flips. And it's so much about the horses. The performance is built around the idea that the horses are the main show. Humans are the side plots. So you see this stage and it's enormous. There's water tanks that they have to fill to look like a beach almost, and the horses are galloping through the sand and the water, and there's
Wait, that's so pretty. Wait, these horses specifically are so pretty.
Water-
They look like angel-like.
tanks that they have to fill to look like a beach almost, and the horses are galloping through the sand and the water, and there's
Wait, that's so
acrobats
pretty.
flying in the air. There's tight ropes. There's acrobats doing handstands on the horses as they're galloping. One performance, dangerous, one of the most dangerous performances really of Cavalia, includes a rider standing with one foot on one horse, another foot on the other horse, while the horses weave patterns and jump obstacles. There's very little margin for error. And, you know, you have to know a horse really well. These types of performers say you have to be able to see when a horse's ear flicks just a little bit. Because even like a little ear flick of the horse, maybe they're getting spooked by something. Maybe they're agitated. Maybe something is uncomfortable in their hoof, like their little hoof. During its peak, Cavalia was bringing in $40 million a year, but they have since filed for bankruptcy, citing that they are close to $30 million in debt. But that was, you know, that's recent in this year. A few years ago, they were at its peak. That's when Tatiana and Mark Fremley decide that they're going to take Cavalia down.
Finally, we're back to the couple. Okay, that was important context. Now we're on to the couple that kills each other.
That's when Tatiana and Mark Fremley decide that they're going to take Cavalia down. They want to compete with Cavalia and make their own horse show, but better and probably hotter. Tatiana, with her blonde hair slightly covering her face, she tells a local reporter in San Diego who's reporting on this, there's like this massive red tent, and they find out it's called Valitar, the new horse show that's coming into business soon. She says, when I was around 14, I went to a Russian Kazakh circus. It's different than your regular circuses in the US. It's just stunning. A lot of amazing riding with a rider going under the horse, under the belly at a, you know, fast gallop, just edge of your seat suspension, just intensity. And it hit me. It was just this desire started going into me to want to create a show that's different from anything that's ever been created. I'm so excited. This is my dream come true, and I want to bring this magic to the lives of everyone that will allow me to bring it to them. A lot of people love horses and can't have them, and so by coming here, they live this dream, and they can touch them and come close to them and see them and experience the magic.
What year was this?
This was early. This was like, they went, I believe they closed down in 2019.
How long did they run it for? Like a few years?
2 shows, like 4 shows.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was in production for a really long time, but
Okay.
actively in business, and you could go watch their horse show, 4 shows.
That's like only having 4 episodes in a TV show, and then it ends after that because it just did so bad.
The opus of Valatar lies in this gargantuan red tent in the middle of Del Mar, California. It looks like a giant red circus tent for a state fair, but massively bigger. There are also 4 small tents connected to the big one. Collectively, under this tent, it's 45,000 square feet.
Damn.
It's a huge tent. That's bigger than a neighborhood suburban shopping center fit inside of this giant red weatherproof tent held up by this massive steel structure. The tents alone cost over $2.1 million. The plan is this.
Jesus.
Mark Ramley is a tech entrepreneur.
God.
We like some of his software. What the f does he know about horses? Nothing. Mark Ramley knows nothing about horses.
The husband.
Yeah. Tatiana, the wife, Tatiana Remley, has been riding horses ever since she was a kid. But is she an equestrian? Is she the best horse rider? Probably not.
You say he's a tech founder? Is he like really loaded, like a billionaire?
No, he's worth about $30 million. He's not a billionaire. His tech corporation was Signal Corp, unrelated to Signal messaging app, but they were a defense contractor.
Oh, I see.
I guess we don't like some of his software. But anyway, Tatiana has been riding horses ever since she was a kid. And she thinks, I got it. I'm going to do Valatar. I'm going to plan the show. We're going to fly in all of these writers, all of these directors, producers, performers from all over the country and be a part of this exciting mission. You want to see someone do a headstand on a moving horse? You got to come to Valatar. Or you could go to Cavalia, that's like 20 minutes away, but no, come to Valatar. It's better, it's newer, and Tatiana is going to be the face of it. There are billboards put up all over Southern California and randomly in seemingly bizarre places in the West Coast where Valatar is not even present, like Seattle. We'll get there. The billboard shows these 2 edited stallions, black stallions with their manes like in the air, and they're facing in opposite directions. And then Tatiana is in the middle holding a stick. It kind of looks like an AI generated medieval times type of poster or like a strip club billboard. That's what most people describe it as. The marketing feels a bit seductive. Like, I don't know if this is a family friendly horse show. I don't know what this is really. But after bringing in a team of producers, directors, they put together this choreographed performance that's ready to go. They have to get housing for all the performers. They have to feed the horses, insurance, a parking lot, administrative work, HR. They got to spend over $20 million on this project. But once they launch in November, they have this whole plan. November and December, they're going to have 45 shows in 2 months. The launch party, the most important night for everybody. The launch party is what sets the tone for the rest of the performances. If I go to a launch party, I'm expecting it to be the vision, the essence of the entire company's.
So all of this is costing a lot of money. Okay, just a quick guess. Maybe she's gonna go so much in debt she makes none of the money back. Like, she doesn't make nearly enough back to cover the cost, so she gets desperate and like wants to kill the husband to get all of his money to pay off the debt.
Mission in one night of good food and hopefully a free drink or 2 because networking is incredibly awkward. Tatiana, I don't know what's happening here. She's holding a belt in one hand. The rest of the belt is tied around her husband Mark's neck and she's leading him around like a dog. I don't even think you lead a horse around like that, so I didn't understand the marketing vision. But the whole launch party, she's just like walking him around like a dog. Okay,
So he's supposed to be like a horse that she's like walking around? Is that what it is?
I don't even think they thought that far. I don't even think it's cohesive marketing. I think that's just what they're into. And everyone was just confused by what's going on.
Okay.
And there are just full forums about lessons that you are not prepared for until you start your own business. And then you just kind of learn it the shitty way. Like, the cheapest client is the most expensive client. I don't know what that means, but a lot of business owners were sounding off in the comments like, exactly,
The cheapest client?
is the most expensive client.
That makes sense.
I guess your cheapest client is going to cost you the most money or whatever,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
But when you start a business with horses, probably the biggest alarming red flag you'll learn as a business owner is when the horses start going missing. Something is very wrong. One producer of the show Valatar, let's call
That's
her Emma,
weird.
she invested over $25,000
Whole ass, big ass horses are disappearing. That's very strange. What the fuck?
of her own money into Valatar. She moved here with her horses. And after 2 performances, Valatar had 2 performances, opening night and the second performance. There's just a lot that could have been done better. They gather all the performers, producers, directors, all the staff in the massive tent. Maybe not the horses. And I imagine there's this very uplifting, motivating, but realistic conversation of like, let's take a few days off. Let's get some rest. Let's recoup. We did good, but we can do better. You know, let's think about all the ways that we can fix these little things. You know, we had one customer who said this, another person did this. Obviously, this was a big, massive failure because we had a line of complaints like this. The shows themselves weren't necessarily horrendous, but the turnout was a lot slower than expected.
Ooh, dude. Okay, my theory is showing right now. Like right now it's going in my direction. It's not going to perform well. She's not going to make that much money. So she's going to get desperate and she's going to try and order a hitman to kill her rich husband to get his money to pay the debt.
Way slower. A lot of empty seats. I mean, it just made an uncomfortable opening night. But also there were just awkward moments in the show they can fix. Nevertheless, everybody gets a few days off, except Emma. She comes back because she's got to feed the horses. The horses don't know what an off day is. They need to eat. And when she goes to the stables, a good chunk of the horses are gone. They're missing. And they're all the Remley couple's personal horses. It's weird, but Tatiana is always doing weird things. Emma doesn't even think anything of it. She leaves and then comes back that night to check up on the horses again. And pretty much all the Remley horses are gone. And so she's asking around, and one of the other staffers, who's not really part of the performance, but maybe more so keeping the grounds, they're like, oh yeah, the Remley said something about how they were gonna do a photo shoot, so they took all the horses for the photo shoot. Emma checks in the back. They didn't just take the horses. They took their harnesses, their tacks. The cabinets were filled with medicine for the horses, all gone. Emma starts freaking out. She tries to calling the Remleys to figure out what's going on, if they know that their horses are missing. And when she gets a response, it's very cold, as if they didn't just spend the past few months of their lives completely intertwined trying to plan this entirely new horse show. She gets a response. The show is being canceled due to poor ticket sales.
This is after $20 million invested?
Yes.
Dude.
That is bizarre.
That's just it. The Remleys don't come back. They take their horses. They leave everybody else's horses, the giant red circus tent. They just leave 26 horses, 21 performers, 5 kids, 1 dog, and 1 cat completely stranded. Nobody was paid. Nobody has money to transport themselves, let alone a horse, safely back to their home. Wow. Nobody even has money to feed the horses because that was supposed to be included. Everyone, for a lack of better words, they were just left to starve.
Dang.
So what the hell went wrong? A competitive horse rider who was brought in to help direct the show says, yeah, well, the Remleys had no idea what they were doing about anything, which is pretty accurate. Cavalia, the Experience Horse Show, just 23 miles away. Why would anyone go to Valatar? But even though they have no clue what they're doing, the director says, it quickly became the Mark and Tatiana show. Except neither of them are horse people, and neither of them are show people. So what are we doing? They have no clue what they're doing, and that is going to lead them to leave a huge group of people and the rest of the San Diego community who now has to pick up, and they're all volunteering to try and feed the horses.
Why did the wife look like she was plotting something in the picture? Wait, low key, wait, let's go back. No, I think that's just how she looks. I mean, she got that rich person stare.
The rest of the San Diego community who now has to pick up, and they're all volunteering to try and feed the horses and get everybody back home, because Del Mar, California is a pretty tight-knit community. They are angry at the Remleys, and they want the Remleys to pay their dues, which ultimately ends with a decapitated horse statue head ending up in the Remley family bed. And when they have that many enemies, it's really...
so that's where the decapitated fake horse head came from. So that was like a threat, like, yo, like, we want our money back.
Really hard to say who's after Mark and Tatiana. Everybody is left high and dry at the Valatar horse show. The horses are left, the performers are left. That's not even figurative. This is like real. The horses are left to starve. One of the biggest problems with the show that a lot of people say in hindsight is that Tatiana sucks at riding horses. And that's mean, right? She's fine, she's mediocre, but she has nowhere near the riding ability that seasoned professionals have. You cannot compare a weekend golfer to someone at the PGA, but Mark and Tatiana want her to be the star of the show, and everybody else has to accommodate her, even if that means they have to lower their skills to make sure that she shines the hardest. I mean, to give you a little bit more context on Tatiana's capabilities, she would often just go out there. So they had 2 shows. Her face is plastered all over the billboards. If I buy a ticket to Valatar, what am I expecting? When this blonde woman comes out on a horse, I'm expecting a somersault in the air, land on a horse, and then do a headstand, eat your lunch off your feet. Like, I'm expecting some sort of, holy cow, this is the most climactic part of this entire performance. This was worth all this money that I could have used for, I don't know, bills, but instead, a horse show. Like, I'm getting something out of this, right? She would just come out on her horse and do a few figure 8s. Not on the horse. Like, she's not doing figure 8s on the horse. She's just riding the horse like a normal person, and the horse is doing figure 8s.
Bro, what the fuck? That would be like me getting in my car and then just driving around cones and being like, hey, look at me, guys.
It's not like she's walking. Like, the horse is just trotting in a figure 8, and the whole thing is awkward because everybody in the crowd, the customers, they're sitting at the edge of their seat. They're holding their breath. The music is getting more climactic. They're expecting something insane, but then she just disappears. It's said by people who went to the first 2 performances, nobody even knew how to respond.
That's so embarrassing. So it's like the music was like, and then it's just like her going like this. the audience was there like, what the fuck? Like, was that it?
It's said by people who went to the first two performances, nobody even knew how to respond. So they were just all looking at the person that they came with, like, what? And clapping, like, what's happening? This caused so much tension that a lot of the seasoned professionals that would have performed to bring in the viewers, they all end up leaving. There are allegations that the couples they also just spent money that didn't make any sense. Some people said that they were willing to spend unreasonable amounts of money on billboard advertisements with Tatiana's face everywhere. They were willing to spend money on Tatiana's costumes, but then when a horse would get injured, they would cheapen out.
So they're trying to do this thing for all the wrong reasons.
Yes.
Like she want to be like a celebrity horse rider.
Yeah. I don't even think she wants to be a celebrity horse rider. A mutual friend of theirs would later come out and say her goal in life was to be a housewife, but not the housewife you're thinking. One of the housewives of a major city on the Bravo TV network. Housewives of
like
Orange County.
Real Housewives.
Yeah, the Real Housewives
That's
of Beverly
crazy.
Hills. That was her goal. Yeah.
And she spent $20 million.
Yeah.
I feel like there's got to be a cheaper way.
I feel like you could have paid, I don't know who is it still the Cohen guy? You could have paid, I feel like bribery could have been a good answer for that one. Someone in the Bravo TV network, I think you could have bribed them for way less than $20 million.
Yeah.
No offense.
That's crazy.
Yeah. In another instance, this is very dumb, but apparently Tatiana just shows up one day with a new horse and just casually mentions, oh, I got a new horse. Okay, these are horse people. They know horses. And there really is no price, no value that you can put on a majestic horse's life. But you can, because that is a $30,000 horse. You can't. That's a $30,000 horse. They ask her how much she paid for it. $70,000. Again, you can't put a price on life. You
what
can't put
the
a price on a
fuck?
horse, but that's a $30,000 horse.
And she got scammed?
Yes, she got scammed $40,000 more. A mutual friend who witnessed this later says the asking price for the horse at the time was $30,000. So she managed to spend $40,000 more than the asking price just because she decided she wanted that horse and someone saw sucker written on her face, I guess. That was
Damn.
their quote, not mine.
Wow.
Yeah. After the fall of Valatar, the Remleys come home one day, and one of the valuable horse statues in the house is left decapitated on their bed. Like I said, it's a threat. At this point, Mark and Tatiana, they have a lot of enemies, a lot of people who hate them.
So someone broke into their house? One of the...
Yes, forced their way in.
Oh, okay. See, thank you, Stephanie's husband, for asking that question, because I was confused about like who the fuck put that in the bed. How did that even get there? It's just too convenient. I thought maybe the wife or the husband did that shit. No, yeah, I guess somebody broke into their house and did that.
Someone broke into their house? One of the...
Yes, forced their way in. And Tatiana claims she knows exactly who did this. She knows exactly who's behind it. It's none other than her own husband, Mark Remley.
So it could have actually been the husband, somebody that lives there.
I think stereotypes are inherently really bad, but one could argue that Mark and Tatiana don't really care. They kind of fit it. Everyone around them knew it. Mark is rich, worth close to $30 million. Tatiana is very hot. I would say out of couples I've seen in Southern California, there isn't even a massive discrepancy in appearance between the two.
Dude, that is so true though. When I went to LA to have my meet and greet, I went to Air One. The store is filled with women like this, with their rich ass husbands, and they're all rich, and they all have like Botox filled faces. And I felt so out of place. I felt so intimidated. I was like, can they smell that I'm poor?
I would say out of couples I've seen in Southern California, there isn't even a massive discrepancy in appearance between the two. Both of them are conventionally attractive. They seemed like they would hit it off.
How old are they?
He's probably like in his 50s. She's probably in her
Like
30s.
Tatiana, she would sniff around me and go like, are you a beaner? The fuck? Cut my grass, beaner.
How old are they?
He's probably like in his 50s. She's probably in her 30s at this point.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
To 40s.
40s.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's typical age gap.
They meet at a Starbucks, a chance
not
meeting.
bad.
Mark falls in love, marries Tatiana, moves her into his $5.5 million house, and now they're on a reality show called Naked Sanctum. It's all about the Sanctum Sex Club. It's a whole season, a documentary following the founder, Damon. He goes around and it shows him preparing for these sexual erotic
Okay, now we're getting back to the sex cult thing.
events while his entire family life falls apart. It's like riveting and depressing at the same time. The minute things start getting hot, if you will, in the documentary, it cuts to him being like, yeah, so my daughters won't talk to me anymore because they're getting bullied at school because someone found out about my job on Instagram, and yeah, they're bullying them. And I'm like, oh, that's not the right time to put that part in. And then it cuts to him having like a 3-person intimate party with 2 young girls women of age in his bedroom. And then it's just like a monologue. It cuts to him sitting there being like, I miss my ex-wife. I think she was my soul. And then it just like cuts to like moaning noises, Marie Antoinette with a champagne bottle. And then it cuts to him being like, I'm actually really lonely.
That's so sad. That's so sad. He's like fucking all these girls. It's like, I miss my family.
Okay. I don't know how to feel. Damon is a very
Was this
interesting
like
guy. Yeah.
on like a main like a network or on TV?
I think you can watch it on streaming platforms right now, and there's a lot. Damon is a very interesting guy. He says he has a lot of knowledge of the human intimate experience now just from running Sanctum. He says, you know, a lot of husbands, they bring their wives, and watching their wives interact and have intense intimate relations with another person in front of them is hot. Basically, he's talking about cucks. He says, the guys I've talked to directly about it say they get turned on seeing their partner turned on. They genuinely don't have jealousy or fear. They know that the woman's coming home with them. They know that. They're not worried, and they really like to see their partner get pleasure from somebody else. That just turns them on. Also, of course, they're with another woman, so they have freedom too. So I'm like, okay, maybe they're swingers. Even for a couple that don't do anything, you know, a guy sees other guys hitting on his wife and he's like, oh yeah, I forgot my wife is hot. I forgot how hot she is. Or like, you know, the same thing in the other direction. It was healthy for a lot of people. You know, a lot of people told me it saved their marriage. But obviously, it's not just a great therapeutic experience for married couples. He mentions one time there was this very famous actress who came into an open room, just having intense, intimate relations with her husband and another guy. And he says, I could tell she was on too much Xanax or something. And it was like it was not good. We had to break it up. Because it seemed like she was not in her right mind. Which I believe now that he's left Sanctum, if you're interested in following his life ever, he owns...
Wait, if she was like on too much drugs, isn't that just kind of grape chat? What the fuck? Wait, that's weird.
Because it seemed like she was not in her right mind. Which I believe now that he's left Sanctum, if you're interested in following his life ever, he owns a restaurant bar on Sunset Boulevard in LA called Puzzle. It's kind of like Sanctum. There's dancers, but it's a dinner and you can't have full-blown intimate relations. But one review from someone, I don't think they realized the environment that we're getting into. The review reads, we went to Puzzle last weekend for my birthday. We went to the restaurant and the lady who was attending to us, first of all, was clueless. It was a tiny place, barely 10 tables. Music was no good. The singers were singing and dancing literally on top of our heads. The dancing lady did nothing but take off her clothes with the music and stayed almost naked the whole time. I was confused. Yeah. But in the reality show that aired a few years back, there's a very specific couple on there. A couple shows up under the pseudonyms of Vladimir and his wife, Ilyana. But they get invited to this exclusive, so Damon is holding a private dinner at his house in the Hollywood Hills, I believe very close to the Playboy Mansion, which would also make it very close to Sean Diddy Combs' house. Here we are again, right? But they will eat...
Oh my God, wait, they were close to Diddy, bro? They were, it's all together. It all ties together. Oh my gosh.
They will watch each other eat, and they will eat... And they will eat other things and watch each other eat other things and then repeat. And not all the steps are obviously involving food. But Vladimir and his wife are seated at the table. These are pseudonyms. It's not Vladimir and Ilyana. It's Mark Remley and Tatiana Remley just sitting there in the flesh, okay? Mark Remley says, what Damon has created here is an opportunity for people to open their minds. Tatiana is just staring lovingly at her husband as if he just discovered quantum physics. She's like nodding, and then she chimes in. I'm all about pushing limits, and we're going to follow Sanctum, and we're going to go where it goes, and just pursue it, and enjoy it, and life, and pursue ourselves, and our love, and our romance, and our sexuality. And I had
Ew, what the hell?
zero clue what that meant. And once most of the meal is over with, all prepared by this personal chef that had a Michelin star restaurant, I believe, a violinist walks down the steps of the mansion. And in walk two girls wearing bunny masks, and they're naked. One has the word touch written on her chest. The other one has eat me written on her chest. So it's very like, the directions are pretty clear. They're climbing onto the table. They just start making out before heading into the final act where they're just both like...
See that I don't fuck with. In all these cults, it's always dehumanizing. I mean, women, yeah. I mean, not to sound like a pick-me, but yeah, it is very much always dehumanizing women, just having them walk around as props, you know? Like, they're literally wearing signs on themselves saying, touch me here.
They just start making out before heading into the final act where they're just both like laying on the dinner table doing things. The violinist later says,
they're showing all of this in the show?
You don't, like, you see lots of nudity, but you don't see explicit... But like you see where the placement of body parts are. So you infer. Obviously, you know, the violinist is standing there and she says, I was just trying to focus on playing the violin really well, which obviously takes a little bit of focus. And then it just like cuts to her playing the violin and her eyes are just staring at the two girls on the dinner table. And I'm like, what am I watching?
Shit, that's scary.
Then another girl comes in with a maid costume with a cake. The two original girls, somehow there's like giant carrots put inside the cake. They take out the carrots. You know what they do with carrots. And then they're like, there's icing everywhere. And then at one point, Tatiana gets up on the table and starts eating a bunny meal.
Like with one of the girls, you were saying?
Yes, and Mark Remley is just admiring his wife visually and physically. And the camera is like behind her and he's like lifting up her skirt. I don't know. And then she finally gets up and she jokes, I think I look guilty. And he says, you do. The proof is on your mouth because she has icing on her mouth now. Then it just cuts to them sitting together outside, and Mark Remley says, the entertainment is bar none. And Tatiana looks really serious, as if she is witnessing a profound, enlightening moment. Beautiful. She's like interjecting, beautiful. He says, the quality of the performers, you know, the sexuality that they exude, it just gets you off. It gets you going. It really does. Tatiana says, the bunnies were beautiful. They're sensuous. There's something enticing about their energy and it draws me to them. I cannot stop myself like all the time.
Yeah, see, somebody in chat pointed it out. Icing? Yeah, that's what made me kind of raise an eyebrow too.
And then it cuts to one of the bunnies coming over to hug Tatiana, and Mark is just watching as they just start getting unclothed, and we see Tatiana unclothed, and they just start doing a lot of things. And Mark Remley tells the viewers, you know, sex is probably the biggest part of our lives. Yes. Tatiana's gonna say yes. Center of our universe.
So the husband is just like, sex is such a big part of our lives. And then the wife, as she's getting groped, she's like, yes, yes, yes. What the hell? Your wife's getting all touched up on by other girls right now, bruh. Yes.
Sex is the center of our universe and everything we derive around it, and it revolves around it. And in the beginning of our relationship, we weren't into this lifestyle. But as time grew on and our sexuality grew together, and Sanctum made it all that much more amazing. Mark continues, I'm kind of like an adrenaline junkie, actually. You know, I love to take risks and I love to live life on the edge. I'm drawn to things that push the limits. Tatiana looks at him, and we live life to the fullest every moment we can. I think people have a hard time in this environment, in this country, in this day and time, embracing their sexuality and embracing, you know, being all that you can be. I think they want to embrace it, but they're scared. It's magical. It's amazing. You feel incredible. You feel real. Mark and Tatiana, like I said, Vladimir and Ilyana are their pseudonyms. These are the owners of the failed Valatar horse show.
Do you know if this is before or after, or just happening at the same time?
Happening seems like at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. And the founder of Sanctum is asked about the couple. Because, you know, he saw them and then, you know, they make news later. And he says they seem to be really happy with what was going on. They seemed really happy with each other and really excited about the experience. I mean, they seemed really into it. It's just that the wife, Tatiana, didn't really seem like an authentic character to me. She seemed a little bit fake. You know, I've been doing this a while and I've been dealing with people like this a long time, and I have a pretty good sense of character at this point. There was something off about her, for sure. But I don't think he saw it. I think he was in love with her. I think he really cared for her. Whatever she was pulling, I don't think he was aware of it.
So even the sex cult master was like, hey, man, that hoe was kind of weird, right?
So he's just saying, like, the way she's describing, like, it was beautiful, it was magical. So unfortunately, I couldn't really find the exact episode that they were featured in. So just to be thorough, I watched the whole season, even though they showed up in like episode 3. I don't know why I did that, but I thought they would show up again. I don't know. But all the other very wealthy couples that go on there, they're very blunt about the experience. They're like, yeah, it's hot. Like, it's hot. We do it, it gets us going, and then we're hotter to each other, and we like it. It's hot. But then when you see Tatiana, it's very like ethereal and spiritual, and it's like this moment.
Yeah.
When all the other couples are like, I just like looking at hot people do hot things, and it makes my husband and wife hotter to me. That was about it. So I think that's what he's insinuating. It just felt, and it did feel performative in the sense of, like, you do meet some people who are very into like tantric experiences where they think and they genuinely feel it's like an awakening as they're doing certain things with their partner, and it's like this connection that transcends above all in this very physical moment. But that was not the vibe that she was giving.
She's just performative, like doing a lot. Okay.
Yeah. A former business partner of Mark's that also knew Tatiana says, I mean, at one point, Mark was just calling him nonstop. Like, he's explaining, he's just calling me nonstop.
What does that mean?
So he used to work with Mark. They had multiple failed business deals. They're not really besties anymore. There's no reason for them to be calling each other. They don't really have a friendship outside of that. But Mark keeps calling him and is like, come to San Diego, let's hang out. And he's like, what are we going to do, hang out? Like, are you trying to get me into another business venture that's going to fail? And he's like, no, let's just hang out. He's like, I don't know why you keep saying hang out. We're not really friends. He says, quote, eventually I got sick of dealing with Mark and I stopped returning his phone calls. A month later, maybe 2 months later, a mutual friend of ours was at my place and we were just talking about it. And I just brought it up, like, this weird thing, like, why was Mark Remley bothering me? And he immediately knew the answer. And he just said, oh, Tatiana wants to sleep with you while he watches.
Damn.
They were trying to get me to come.
Stephanie's husband, damn.
So apparently they were trying to get me to come down there and have sex with Tatiana while Mark watched for whatever reason. We never did get the answer if he went or not. But here's a very odd detail on the show. They go as Vladimir and Ilyana, which seems like a random choice of pseudonyms for the show. And there is a speculation of a intense interest in Russian culture and Russian aesthetics. And no one really knows if Tatiana is even Russian, because we don't think Tatiana is her real name. We'll get to it. But it's not random. Tatiana has allegedly stated in the past that she was essayed by her brother. Now, the people she told about this, she told them that her brother's name was Vladimir.
Okay.
So why would you choose a pseudonym for your husband? That is, first of all, your brother. Even if he didn't assault you, that's a very odd choice.
That is odd. First of all, yeah, it's odd that you would give your husband the nickname of your brother, but it's even weirder that it's your brother's name that essayed you and you're choosing to continue giving people that name, people that you have sexual intercourse with. Like, what?
Even if he didn't assault you, that's a very odd choice.
Right. Or like that's not even her brother's name, right?
Yeah. So it's just all
weird connection. Yeah, very off.
And the mutual friend said, there's something wrong with her. It's a really weird thing to do. I mean, 100% I know that Mark didn't pick the name. That was her idea. Mark's not even that creative to come up with a pseudonym like that. So I'm sure she picked it. And why would she pick that name if that's who molested her? Her brother. Even if he didn't molest her, just her brother's name? Really bizarre. Friends say their relationship was just getting toxic. They had a much healthier relationship in the beginning, aside from the colossal financial failure that was Valatar. At least they were both business oriented. They're always working on something. Is it the best thing in the world? No. Is it something that's going to run them into bankruptcy? Perhaps, but it's something. Eventually, their entire relationship just revolves around sleeping with different people. The Del Mar Fire Department get a phone call. A residential home is on fire. The entire house is up in flames, and it's a big one. It's $5.5 million of the house.
Wait, which home? Okay, so I assume that's gonna be their house. Is this where she dies?
The entire house is up in flames, and it's a big one. It's $5.5 million of the house burning to the ground.
The hitman.
Firefighters get to the scene, put out the fire before it can start spreading. But it's just weird. You can tell that this is not a normally occurring fire. This doesn't even seem like an accident. And like, yes, we are in Southern California, but this doesn't make sense. The bomb and arson unit of the Del Mar Fire Department started investigating the cause of the fire. And the first persons of interest are going to be whoever is at the scene of the crime. That makes sense. And they find 2 women. One of them, interestingly, has 3 guns with her and a ton of ammunition. I mean, technically, she does have every right to be there, though, kind of, because it's the house that she shares with Mark. What the hell is Tatiana Remley doing there with guns and ammunition when the house is burning down?
As the house is burning down, she's there with guns? Wait, that's weird. What the hell, Tatiana?
People just have a lot more targets on their back than others. Some people could go the rest of their lives and no one wants to harm them. And then you have someone like Mark Remley, co-founder of Signal Corp, tech company that lives off of DoD, Department of Defense contracts. They operate, execute large-scale federal IT projects, primarily dealing with high-end government contracts. He was almost a VP there for 20 years, executive VP, chief information officer. The company had an annual sales at its peak surpassing $600 million from the government. I was going to make a smart remark, but I won't. Eventually, he retires. Mark Remley inherits close to $26 million. And that seems to be a mix from his work at Signal when he exits and from his parents passing. So they're all wealthy. And that's when he meets Tatiana at Starbucks. And it's not the worst of the book tropes, but it does feel like something that only happens in a modern contemporary romance in the category of rom-com that doesn't take itself too seriously. Like, that's the vibe it gives. They get married, and suddenly Tatiana has a $218,000 engagement ring the first year that they're married, because now Tatiana has to fit into this higher upper class life. He buys her $200,000 worth of clothes. Yeah.
$200,000?
Yeah.
Worth of clothes?
Worth of clothes.
What the fuck? How do you have to try to drop that much money? That's actually a turnoff for me. Like, having that much clothes, that would give me anxiety. Having too much in your fucking closet, that would just piss me off in a way. It's like I wouldn't be able to decide what to wear every day.
Okay, it's just like designer on designer on
She's
designer.
like not a lot of clothes though for clothes.
Really?
Yeah, I think it was a lot of lingerie for $200,000. And she moves into the $5.5 million house. They have multiple properties all over San Diego, Hawaii, California. And by the way, that's not like
somebody
a
in
weird
chat said
remark.
choice fatigue.
If you want to, you can wear whatever you want to wear. I was just saying, $200,000 is like an unthinkable amount to spend on clothing.
Yeah.
I'm like expecting a house full of clothes. You get the house and the clothes, and it's just they're living this life. She even posts on Facebook in Hawaii making lunch in the kitchen, and you just see this massive rainbow.
Oh, you know what? See, somebody in chat pointed out she paid $40K more for the horse. The fact that she paid $40,000 extra for a horse that was really only worth $30,000. She paid $70,000. That's like a common scam that people do on rich people, especially on women that marry rich. I mean, they're just like prime targets for that kind of shit, because they then learn to not really appreciate or like see the value of money. Like, it's all just monopoly money to them. So it's really easy to scam women like that, just to scam people like that in general, because they have no concept of what's affordable, what's too expensive. They just swipe the card.
She even posts on Facebook in Hawaii making lunch in the kitchen, and you just see this massive rainbow across the island. But there are some things that even money cannot buy. Like some things that you can't even pay someone to make you forget. Like your ex. Because 1,300 miles away from Valatar, the horse show, near Seattle, Washington, on a giant billboard taking up the eyeball real estate of a boring highway where there's really nothing to look at except for the exit signs and maybe a Chick-fil-A sign, maybe an In-N-Out sign. There's just a giant billboard of Tatiana, her blonde hair, next to her 2 beautiful horses. Valatar doesn't really have active plans to do shows in Seattle. They barely have shows in California, but the billboard is there because that is the road that Ken Wilcott, a very wealthy man, Ken is a real estate developer in Seattle, part owner of the NBA Sonics. He's worth close to $40 million. He lives in Seattle, and he takes this highway every damn day to get to work. And he has to see his goddamn ex-wife blown up on the side of the road.
Oh, so she went out of her way to waste even more money. This just shows you how irresponsible she was with the money. She put a billboard in Seattle on the road that her ex took just so he would see it. Wow.
So she only did that on that one specific billboard in that city for her ex-husband to look at.
Yeah.
Is it to rub it on his face or okay?
Yeah, they had a very contentious divorce, and he seems like he is the only one that might know a lot about Tatiana. I mean, there's not a lot about her out there. There's so much of her out there, but really not a lot about her out there.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
This is like one of the craziest things.
Her name is probably not even Tatiana. It's speculated that she was born Tanya. Tatiana's parents seem to have like a Russian fixation. Tatiana perhaps leaned into it. It seems like maybe they had some Russian heritage in their family. Like, I don't know. Her parents are just from Bend, Oregon. Tatiana was born in Phoenix, Arizona, and it's speculated she was Tanya. They never really went to Russia. They never grew up in Russia. Not saying that you have to grow up in Russia to be part of the Russian culture or to celebrate your Russian ancestry. It's just her parents are Vera and Brian, and she just leans into the Russian aesthetic really hard. And then she starts leaning out. I think that's where it gets interesting.
Leaning out as like her look or?
Her look, the obsessions that she has. So when she was very into the Russian aesthetic, it was all about how you can be an equestrian in like the Russian way. So every different country has their own style of horse riding. So Russia has a very specific type, and they like specific horses that fit that aesthetic. And you have like the long blowing blonde hair, and then you wear like very swaying fabrics. It's like a very specific look. And then you have like the country girl horse, which is like you've got the tight jeans, you've got the boots, you've got the cowboy hat, also beautiful, but it's like a very different aesthetic.
Yeah.
So she just kind of picks and chooses, and some people speculate she picks and chooses depending on what she thinks the guy that she is dating will like.
I see.
So if the guy is like, I love me a cowgirl, she will be a cowgirl. If the guy is like, I love like that Eastern European, you know. But I will say a mutual friend does say something very interesting. They say, Tatiana is perhaps a persona that she made up, and maybe it came from childhood trauma. And she just like needs a character that she would become that wasn't tortured. I don't know.
I'm not a fan of the psychoanalyzing. Like, you had a rough childhood. Bro, who didn't have a rough childhood? I'm gonna be so real. I hear this story so much. I feel like we all kind of have some rough moments in our childhood. Like, can we just stop it?
So that's what the friend says about Tatiana being a character that she plays. Ken Wolcott, Tatiana's ex-husband, says her childhood was really rough. She grew up near Bend, Oregon, but in the rural area. She didn't have any social interactions really with anybody growing up. It sounds like her parents might have been involved in a religious group that might border the loosely defined word of a cult. She wasn't allowed to have traditional medicine or medical care. It's believed that her family fully rejected all forms of any life-saving medicines, any discomfort-alleviating medicines. The way Ken Wolcott saw it and the way he later describes it is he thinks a lot of Tatiana's emotional disruption comes from the fact that she was essentially held captive for 10 years by her parents. They didn't allow her to have any friends. She wasn't even enrolled in school after the 4th grade. Impressively, she got her GED, but it was just a rough life. Before marrying Ken Wolcott, Tatiana had a daughter with a separate guy. She marries Ken.
I mean, that is kind of sad, I guess. Yeah, I mean, if the parents were really that controlling, but again, it's just like, does that give you an excuse to be a weirdo when you're, I don't know. I mean,
Before marrying Ken Wolcott, Tatiana had a daughter with a separate guy. She marries Ken, has a son with him, and they are married for a total of 11 months. And short does not mean simple because their divorce is very, very messy. Ken alleges that Tatiana misused his finances. More specifically, he gave Tatiana a card to use to purchase clothes. She would buy the clothes with his credit card and then return the clothes and then ask for cash for the return instead of for returning it back to the card, which I feel like that's impressive. And I feel like as a husband, you should support that because why are you okay with her spending the money on clothes unless she's spending the cash on something else? I don't know. You would think that a millionaire would be impressed by her financial ability to think ahead. But no, he's very upset. He also accused Tatiana of being inattentive to their son, who was born with extra support needs, and that's when they separate. He says that he wasn't going to send her $9,000 a month to care for their son because she's using it fully on herself. She's not using it on their son, so he wants full custody of the son, and he wants to stop paying her child support. He also just overall disagrees with the way that she's living her life, so ultimately, he ends up with full custody. But this is where things get interesting, and I think this is where lots of people have sympathy for Tatiana. All the guys in her life still like her to some degree because...
Yeah, somebody in chat says, Omar, children are like sponges. If she was exposed to all this at a young age, it would lead her. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, you know, I guess I'm just fatigued on all the true crime we watch where the weird, bad people have like a sad story all the time from when they were little. But, you know, hers, there's some validity to it, yeah. If it's true.
He has full custody out of his own volition. It's not because the judge orders him to. Sympathy for Tatiana. All the guys in her life still like her to some degree because he continues paying child support even though he has full custody out of his own volition. It's not because the judge orders him to.
Okay.
So just keep this in mind.
Okay.
But some of Tatiana's friends say that she had a strong pattern of going after wealthy guys and then depending on them for her financial needs. But she also seems to have an energy that they seem to love. According to friends, the relationship between Mark and Tatiana Remley is interesting. Technically, on paper, Mark is the one with the power. He's got the substantial resources. But friends say he's like a dog, like a little puppy dog. He's obsessed with Tatiana. Whatever she wants, he's doing it, no questions asked. Mark seems so obsessed with Tatiana, even to the point where he still loves her no matter if they fail at their businesses, lose $20 million, if she frivolously she spends money purchasing billboards for her ex-husband, if she goes to intimate parties and has intimate relations with other people in front of him, and even when she tries to have him killed. August 2nd, 2023.
Here we go.
There is another.
Here we go. The Hitman aspect of this video. Let's go.
August 2nd, 2023. There is another chance encounter at Starbucks. At least that's what it feels like. It's a very casual meeting. A guy sitting on the patio with a nice drink. He's wearing a tank top and shorts. It's August, it's hot. And then you have a woman sitting there. At one point, he leans in, says something to the woman before getting up and walking into the Starbucks and entering the restroom. She leans back in her chair, waiting for him, and that is when 4 San Diego police officers pull up in 2 separate vehicles. Tatiana Remley, you are under arrest for trying to hire an undercover officer to kill your husband for $2 million.
What? 2 million? That's the highest we've ever heard, right?
Yeah,
2 million for a hit. So, dude, even the hitman was scamming her. Dude, the hitman scammed her, bro.
for trying to hire an undercover officer to kill your husband for $2 million.
What? 2 million? That's the highest we've ever heard, right?
Yeah, and it's not $2 million that she has. I mean, perhaps the worst part of all of this is that she would be using Mark Remley's money to kill Mark Remley, to get the rest of Mark Remley's money.
Do you know how she...
I know. Wait. So I was right. Okay, I didn't know that part though. That's kind of funny. So she was using Mark's money to kill Mark, to hire the guy that would kill him. But it's because she wanted her money to get out of that mega debt.
You're gonna laugh. She reached out. I mean, they're all like swingers. They're reaching out. They're doing things with each other. She reaches out to a mutual friend of them, and it's like, "Hey, can you kill my husband?" He's like, let me think about it.
It's crazy.
Call
because-
San Diego Police
Oh
Department.
my God. It always happens like this too.
Yeah.
They're just like calling friends and calling someone so randomly.
I don't know who in their life knows anyone that would have any experience with a hitman.
Yeah. Okay, so the mutual friend just called the cops.
Called the cops and was like, I don't know what to do. Calls Mark and is like, hey, Mark, you better watch out. So
Oh.
then the cops are like, we know what to do. Tell her you know somebody who can do it. Undercover cop. They meet at a Starbucks. Something about Starbucks.
Oh, so she tried to hire some rich dude at one of those weird parties to kill Mark. But then obviously the guy was like, yo, that's weird. I'm going to call the cops on you, girl. I'm going to call the cops on you.
They meet at a Starbucks. Something about Starbucks.
Did they record the body cams? And
Yeah. And so he goes into the restroom. She gets arrested.
So, and you said the friend called Mark as well.
Yeah.
So Mark knew?
Yeah, and Mark actually dates her after she gets out of prison.
Oh, okay.
What? Mark continued to date her after she got out of prison for trying to hire a hitman to kill him? This is thinking with your dick on another level. Like, bro just really wanted a nut.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how did we get here? How did she go from everything that they're doing to like all of a sudden attempt murder? Like,
Oh yeah, let me tell you. There is a saying that if you want to live a financially stable life, you don't date someone who treats money like water. Because no matter how much you cup your hands, if you try to keep water in your hands, the money's going out. You're not gonna be able to cup it. Obviously, this is not towards people who have reasonable bills to pay, and the cost of living is drastically higher than the wages that are being offered in the job market. This is for people that whenever they get extra disposable cash, they buy the most ridiculous thing that they don't even need. And it's not even just them spoiling themselves to feel good about this impending recession and doom and depression. It's like, why did you buy the 12th air fryer of the year? Like, you don't need 12 air fryers. Those are the types of people that it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, you can't out-earn poor spending habits. Yeah, just like how you can't exercise your way out of a poor diet. If your spending habits are just that fucking bad, and like the more money you make, the more money you spend as well. Like, you just start spending extra shit. Like, yeah.
Why did you buy the 12th air fryer of the year? Like, you don't need 12 air fryers. Those are the types of people that it's going to be very difficult to live a financially responsible life. And that might be Tatiana. And Mark acted like he had unlimited water. After the $20 million fail that was Valatar, they open up Rhythm and Power, a cycling studio, like a SoulCycle.
She always has the same look for every business she has opened, like in both the horse thing and now this like cyclist thing. She's always like the... Yeah.
After a year being open, suddenly members get an email that they're gonna have random improvements done in the store. So the store is gonna close down. They recheck the website, everything is shut down. They go to the store, the studio had a staff of 5 people, and the full year that they were open, they only made $51,000. Then one day, Tatiana wakes up and she spontaneously decides that she's gonna be the head of a women's polo team, which cost Mark $500,000 to get the whole team together. They have to buy horses, they have to invest in the team marketing, team shirts,
That is-
team name, LLC rights. Yeah, and then they enter the San Diego Polo Club, and a few minutes into their very first match, Tatiana falls off the horse, breaks her arm, and quits polo.
Wow.
Forgive my language, chat, but damn, bitch, are you good at anything? Oh my god, bruh. You bad at spending, you're bad at riding horses, you're bad at polo, you're bad at cycling companies. Dude, holy shit.
A mutual friend describes their relationship as he did whatever she did, whatever she said. Didn't matter if it was a good idea, bad idea, made no difference. I mean, he got drug around by her doing what she wanted with no real say in it. He just threw money at whatever it is she wanted to do. He was her dog. People also say that Tatiana has always been, quote, a control freak. She likes to push boundaries, push limits. She's an instigator, and her biggest aspirations were to be the Real Housewife of insert major city. That was her dream. And so after all of these business things, Mark Rumley files for bankruptcy. And by the end of all of these failed business ventures, they decide that they are going to end their very tumultuous marriage. They are going to get a divorce. Mark Rumley files for bankruptcy. They file for the divorce. And then Tatiana decides, I actually think I'm just going to kill him instead.
What's up? Where's that come from?
She was not getting enough financial support from him. And I think if he died, perhaps she thought there was still money left that would go to her.
You think it was a money motivation?
Yes, because even in the divorce filings...
Dude, wait, did I call this from the very beginning of the video before we started? Wait, no, there's no way I could have guessed that. But I did guess it very early. Dude, I'm just pre-watched.
Her lawyer complains about how she was living off of $50,000 a month as her allowance when they were married, and he's cutting it down to $12,000 to $15,000 a month, which is just like an unreasonable amount.
Wow.
So according to the divorce documents, Mark Rumley had invested, he still has, I think this is like after the bankruptcy, I don't even know how this works, right? But he still had a portfolio worth about $8.6 million, a bank account with $400,000, and multiple multi-million-dollar properties, vehicles, jewelry, all amounting to be $8.2 million. And so with that, the shit-slinging divorce begins. Tatiana claims Mark was not only verbally and physically abusive, that he allegedly put a gun up to her head in front of another employee, and another time he chased her around the house with a knife. According to Tatiana's divorce filings, he stole property from her, he destroyed her property, he's mentally unstable, and after the massive financial colossal failure that was Zalatar, he had a meltdown and he discharged one of his guns inside of their house, and he has cut her off financially, which seems to be like the most contentious point. Tatiana's attorney argues, the wife is experiencing extreme financial strain. She is unable to maintain her realistic monthly expenses of just $12,000, much less.
Realistic monthly expenses of just $12,000? Just? What are you spending on, bro?
Than what she was accustomed to at $50,000. She has no income and does not have the same access to funds and assets that the respondent does. In the divorce, Tatiana is demanding $15,000 a month in spousal support and the use of the Del Mar home, the $5.5 million home, 2 trucks, a horse trailer, an ATV, and a few of their pets, including some parrots and some goats. She's like, this is what I want in the divorce. But this is what's weird. That's the house that burned down. It's not like fully burned down, but it's pretty wrecked. Why does she want that Del Mar house?
So the fire happened. I'm confusing with the time.
Yes, okay. So all of their business failures happen.
Yep.
And then the fire happens, and then she very quickly is like, I'm gonna hire someone to kill him. And
Wait,
all of this.
where's the gun and the ammos and all that came from? The girl with the gun and ammos.
Oh, yes. Okay. So all their failures happen. They decide that they're going to file for divorce. Then the house fire happens. Tatiana is there with a bunch of guns and ammunition. And now the fire department is investigating it for arson. And then she gets arrested for trying to hire a hit on her husband that they are in the process of divorcing right now.
Right. When the fire department came to the house, they got rid of the fire. What do you mean? Like she's standing in the house holding a gun?
See, thank you to Stephanie's husband. Like she wasn't answering it right there, and I'm not like hating on Stephanie, but like that's the part that she like wasn't answering up until now. Like thank you to the husband for continuing to ask that question. Like no, but like what the fuck was up with her having guns when the house was on fire? Because that just sounds so random.
What do you mean? Like she's standing in the house holding a gun?
She had them in her possession. And so it gets tricky later, but she does get arrested for this fire later. They don't arrest her that day. They arrest her way later.
They're just investigating what's going on. And then in their record, it's indicating that, oh, she was in the house and she has possession of these firearms. I see.
And then they don't do anything about it. They just continue.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, because like the way Stephanie was framing it, it's like she had the guns on her in the house when the house was on fire. I was like, what?
Investigating. Now the San Diego Police Department arrests her first for trying to hire a hit on her husband that she's in the middle of getting a divorce from. So all of this is happening. But the most disturbing allegation in the divorce comes out where Tatiana claims throughout their marriage, there has been lots of heinous things that Mark has done to her. But one of the most heinous is that Mark coordinated with his friend. Mark's friend breaks into the house, forces their way into the house, holds Tatiana at gunpoint and essays her while Mark is watching, and then cuts the head off of their horse statue and throws it on the bed. This is an accusation that comes out during the divorce proceedings. And so she's saying that horse head statue, that was Mark's doing because he called his friend to come essay me while he just laughed. He laughed and he watched, and then they cut my horse statue's head off and then put it in the bed like a threat from the movie Godfather, because there's like a scene, but I think it was a real horse head. I mean, a prop for the movie, but like supposed to be real. Again, another mutual friend of theirs does believe that this incident did take place, where someone did force their way into the house and essayed Tatiana. But he says, quote, I think she's the one who orchestrated it, not him. That was totally her. She was always the one trying to get people to do things with her. That was her thing. Mark, I can't imagine Mark. I'd be surprised.
So, okay, so that would explain how the horse head got there, because I was very still confused about that. But it might be a lie. Yeah, I mean, if she's only talking about that accusation now about how she was essayed, it really just comes across as her making up something on the spot to try and get out of a jail sentencing.
If he has that many friends. But I can't really imagine Mark actually orchestrating that on his own.
This friend is saying this is something that she orchestrated as like a role play type of thing.
Yeah. I don't know if that's accurate. It just, see, that's why a lot of people have mixed feelings about Tatiana. And even if you take Mark out of the picture, is this somebody who is just very traumatized and is behaving very recklessly, but she is victim and perpetrator? Or some people are also like, yeah, but you probably wouldn't say that to a guy who tries to kill his wife. So it's just very complicated, but he believes...
I think the first thing is true. I think she's a victim and a perpetrator. Like she grew up kind of like with a messed up family, messed up childhood. I mean, you were a kid back then, bro. You're an adult now. You make your own choices and you are behaving extremely irrationally. Yeah.
That Tatiana is the one that orchestrated all of this, and she was always the one wanting to go to these clubs, wanting to do these types of things, wanting to get intimate with other people. That seems to be the assumption and what the mutual friends are saying. Mark has also claimed to a local news outlet that he believes that Tatiana was the one to burn their house down. And maybe that's not even the only time that she allegedly took measures to harm Mark. There were reports that the day before Tatiana was arrested, Mark had no idea that she was... I guess he knew, he had a heads up that she might try to kill him, but he didn't know what was happening because he ends up running to his neighbor's house, banging on the door, screaming that he's having a seizure. Neighbor said Mark looked horrendous. I mean, this guy is 57. He looked 77. That's how bad he looked. Neighbor calls the police. Mark is taken to the hospital.
When was this?
This is the day before she was arrested at that Starbucks. So some people think that she tried to poison him before and then she got arrested the next day. I don't know. That's all speculation, but this is just something happened the day before the arrest.
Before we go there,
Yes.
about the fire. You're saying the fire, people think she tried to kill him with the fire.
Yeah.
So it wasn't for insurance or anything else.
Oh, I called that too. I mean, that was like a little guess, actually. I thought like the hitman or something set that fire to try and kill the husband. Yeah. But that might have been her.
What?
directly.
And then she, in the divorce, wants to like stay in that house. And so people thought that was weird. So maybe there's some sort of evidence of arson that she thinks if she's in the house, she's allowed to be on the property, only she's allowed there, she could dispose of or get rid of or control the investigation in some way. Was the belief. And then the day before she's arrested, he's like running down the street screaming, I'm having a seizure, and he just looks so rough. That could be unrelated or it could be completely related. And then the next day, she gets arrested.
Without the makeup. Oh my God.
December 18th, 2025. So this is after all of this.
This is a few months ago.
Yeah, this is after their divorce is finalized. This is after she gets out of prison for trying to kill her husband. Yeah, we're gonna get into how much time she served. In the middle of San Diego's Little Italy neighborhood, outside of a bar, Tatiana Remley, who served her jail time for trying to get Mark killed, she's a free woman. And she is laying on the curb now with a gunshot wound to her head.
Yo, this is where she dies. She got out of jail. She's a free woman. She's working a job.
And she is laying on the curb now with a gunshot wound to her head. 2 years before her death, she had pled guilty to solicitation to commit murder and a firearm charge. She was initially facing 9 years in prison for the little Starbucks meetup and trying to kill Mark. However, she's ultimately sentenced to 4 years in prison, but she only ends up serving 1 year before being released. She gets out after 1 year, and when she gets out, she dates Mark here and there, starts dating other guys, and there are a few changes in her life. She kind of starts leaning more into that country girl scene, and she starts posting really intense things on Facebook about how life is about what you make it, and quote, maturity is when you have the power to destroy someone who did you wrong, but you just breathe, walk away, and let life take care of them. Which some people think maybe there was a lot of trauma that she endured in previous relationships. Like, it just, no one really can understand what happened. Like, it's hard to pinpoint directly if...
I'm gonna call it right now too, pre-watch moment. I think the husband, after like they stopped talking, he just wanted his get back. He just wanted revenge.
She is a victim turned perpetrator, or if she's just a straight perpetrator all the way through. So she switches from like the more Russian-centered equestrian aesthetic to country girl, horses, bikes, trailers, snakes, like that kind of vibe. She posts quotes like, everybody wants to be a country girl until the hay wagon rolls up and it's time to start stacking. And a lot of netizens are just confused at the time, like, how did she only get 1 year for arranging to kill her husband? And they all commented, California judges are insane. Which I would have to agree with that sentiment, because court documents state that Tatiana was very thorough about how she wanted Mark to be decapitated, how she wanted his body to be disposed of, how she had all this cash saved up. I mean, she had a substantial amount of cash that they found on her, which was probably Mark's cash.
How much?
They just said substantial amount. And she had 3 loaded firearms that were not registered to her name. And maybe she received leniency for how dumb she was in her plot to kill. And no one knows why she deserved a year.
The judge, like, she's dumb as bricks. Fuck. I mean, I kind of feel bad, so I'm gonna pity her and just let her serve just 1 year. Like she dumb as hell.
For how dumb she was in her plot to kill. And no one knows why she deserved a year. Nobody knows. But after her release, she did see Mark on and off again until December of 2018. Well, actually, September of 2025, she gets arrested once more. This time for arson for that Belmar fire in their $5.5 million house. She's actually awaiting trial. She pled not guilty. So she gets arrested in September of 2025. December of 2025, she's out in Little Italy. She FaceTimes Mark, her ex-husband, in the bathroom of a bar. And she's complaining about the guy that she's with. And he's like, well, if you're really uncomfortable, I can call 911 for you. And she's like, no, I got it. Like, it's under control. It's gonna be fine. She walks out of the bar and she takes out the gun from her purse, fires it once outside in the air, and then the second shot, she passes away.
Oh, did she do it to herself? Wait, Stephanie just said she pulled out the gun and shot once in the air, and then the other one, she dies?
Fires it once outside in the air, and then the second shot, she passes away. Yes, it's a very public.
So it was like it's in front of a store?
It's just like in the middle of Little Italy. There were a few witnesses who saw and witnessed the whole thing. And usually when people do things like that in public, it's like a last cry for help. It's almost like a lot of psychologists have said, it's like, do you see how much pain I'm in? And I will say that she was high risk for this type of incident, considering she was facing substantial social, legal, financial repercussions in life.
What a plot twist. Yeah, she did it to herself. And you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and like do my own psychoanalysis right now. It's in line with her previous behavior of attention seeking. Like for the horse thing, she was never a good horseback rider, but she wanted to be the star of that. And then she was always going for rich men, making them her dogs. She wanted to be the princess. The way she was posting on Facebook, even her suicide was, in a way, there was an attention seeking aspect to it, but as Stephanie said, in the form of a cry for help.
But I don't know. I think it's really hard to say. I think people have very strange mixed feelings for Tatiana. I think given the fact that Mark dated her after she got out of prison, her ex-husband Ken Woolcott continued to pay child support even when she didn't have the child for at least an extended period of time out of his own free will. It seems like maybe people close to Tatiana saw something that we probably don't see. Maybe she did have a very unstable childhood and they could see her instability seeping through, but ultimately...
No, definitely, I think she did have mental problems, yeah.
They thought she was a good person. I don't know. She died 10 days after her 44th birthday. But some other people think maybe there's actually something worse happening, because there is an unanswered question in all of this. Tatiana's friend, Cheryl, mysteriously died around the time their house caught on fire. And there have been rumors in their circle that Tatiana could be involved. Tatiana claimed that her ex-husband Mark was trying to falsely implicate her in her friend Cheryl's suspected murder, but she was due back in court for the arson charge March 3rd of 2026.
That's too much for me.
But she is
What happened to Cheryl?
No one knows. I tried to look into it. There's not much written about her. There's like barely, yeah.
So some other person died too, but that's just a mystery? What the fuck? Okay.
Wow.
And now the question is, I guess, who killed Cheryl? Was Tatiana a victim and a perpetrator, or just a perpetrator, or does it even really matter?
And what happened? Did Mark make any statements after?
I think it wouldn't be surprising if Tatiana was involved in Cheryl's death, her friend. But I mean, I don't even want to speculate. Like this story is just so crazy.
After this?
No, people think he's in Hawaii. His friend says that's where Mark goes when he runs away.
Wow. And ex-husband, nothing? No. Wow.
What are your thoughts? This was a very bizarre case.
Yeah, you know what, Stephanie, that's a good way to end it off. Very bizarre. Yeah. And it's kind of like weird. I mean, I did have my moment where I was getting frustrated hearing about yet another sob story about a childhood. But that's just because I'm kind of jaded on these stories. I've heard it so much before in these true crime cases. Maybe I was too quick to judge. I'm always willing to turn around on that. I do feel for her in a way. She definitely had some unsolved trauma, some unresolved trauma, but that's never an excuse to behave the way that you do when you're an adult, you know? That's on you to fix as an adult. And if you leave those things unfixed, it becomes your fault and you're just perpetuating the cycle of toxicity that you got from your parents. But yeah, I mean, she was just very mentally unwell. I can tell you that much for sure. The way that she behaved, her spending habits, her attention-seeking behavior. But no, yeah, that's all for this video. Thank you to Stephanie for once again making something as disturbing and weird and bizarre as this palatable for innocent ears like mine. That's all. I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.